Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision for lifelong learning. Imagine standing at the precipice of a mountain peak, looking out at the vast expanse of the world, feeling the cool breeze against your face, and contemplating life's grand questions. Have you ever paused to think about what makes a life truly fulfilling? What defines success? And how do we navigate through the complexities of our existence? Martin Luther King Jr., the iconic civil rights leader, philosopher, and visionary, had his own profound answers to these questions. He believed deeply in the power of education and lifelong learning. His vision was not just about acquiring knowledge, but about transforming it into a force for good, shaping a society where everyone could thrive. Let me tell you this, Martin Luther King Jr. saw education as a tool to break the chains of systemic oppression and foster a world where all individuals could realize their full potential. In his speech, "The Other America," delivered during the March on Washington in 1963, King articulated a clear vision of a future where educational disparities were eliminated. He spoke about the need for schools to be centers of hope, places where every child could find a mirror to reflect their worth and a ladder to climb towards opportunity. Here's something you should know. King believed that education was not merely a means to an end, but a catalyst for change, a spark that ignites the desire for justice and equality. King's own story serves as a powerful example of the transformative power of lifelong learning. Born in Atlanta in 1929, he grew up in a family deeply rooted in the Baptist faith and community activism. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a pastor who instilled in him a sense of duty and service to others. However, King's journey to becoming a civil rights leader began with a thirst for knowledge. At Morehouse College, he immersed himself in studies of theology and philosophy, which nurtured his passion for social justice. But King's education did not stop there. He continued his studies at Boston University, earning a doctorate in systematic theology. It was during this time that he read extensively, absorbing ideas from various thinkers, including African philosophers and leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and Malcolm X. King's thirst for knowledge was fueled by his desire to understand the roots of inequality and oppression. He spent countless hours reading books, attending lectures, and engaging with scholars who shared his vision. This constant pursuit of knowledge made him a formidable advocate for change. You might be wondering, how does one go about achieving such a level of intellectual curiosity? For King, it meant setting aside time each day to engage in self-reflection and study. He often began his days with prayer and meditation, allowing his mind to be open to new ideas and perspectives. This practice of continuous learning became a cornerstone of his leadership style, inspiring those around him to embrace lifelong education as well. But King's vision extended beyond individual transformation. He envisioned a society where everyone had access to quality education. In his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, he eloquently expressed his aspirations for a nation where people would no longer be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. To achieve this dream, he advocated for equal educational opportunities for all, particularly for marginalized communities. King understood that true progress required addressing systemic issues within the education system itself. Here's something you should know. He called for reforms that included funding for underprivileged schools, teacher training programs, and curriculum development that reflected the diverse experiences of American society. Lifelong learning was not just about academic achievement for King, it was about empowerment. He believed that education was a means to liberate the mind and spirit, enabling individuals to challenge unjust systems and work towards creating a more equitable world. Consider this. When King was arrested in 1957, he used his legal education to defend himself in court. By doing so, he demonstrated the power of knowledge in the face of adversity. He knew that true liberation required more than just the right to vote. It required the ability to critically analyze the structures that perpetuated inequality. In his later years, King continued to champion the cause of education, even as he faced immense pressure and danger. He visited schools across the United States, speaking to students about the importance of education in their lives and the broader struggle for justice. He encouraged young people to pursue their dreams, no matter how challenging the path may seem. "Here's something you should know," he once said. "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." Today, we live in a world where the value of education has become increasingly recognized. Governments and organizations worldwide invest heavily in educational initiatives aimed at closing the gap between rich and poor, urban and rural areas, and disadvantaged groups. Yet, King's vision remains relevant and urgent. We see it in movements like Me Too, where survivors of sexual assault and harassment use their stories to educate and empower others. We see it in the Black Lives Matter movement, where activists use their knowledge and skills to demand accountability and change. And we see it in the global fight against climate change, where scientists and activists alike share their expertise to build a sustainable future. So what can we learn from Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision for lifelong learning? First, we must recognize the power of continuous education. Just as King did, we must seek out new ideas, challenge our assumptions, and remain open to growth. Second, we must advocate for equal educational opportunities. As King put it, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Finally, we must use our knowledge to drive positive change. King's legacy teaches us that education is not just a means to an end. It is a means to transform ourselves and the world around us. In closing, let me tell you this. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of lifelong learning is not just a call to action for educators and students. It is a call to each and every one of us. In a world where knowledge is increasingly accessible, we have the power to shape our own destinies. Let us embrace the journey of lifelong learning, not as a burden but as a privilege. For in the words of King, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Let us strive to stand tall, not just at times of comfort, but always.